Hello and welcome to Piggypower. Thank you for clicking on this video and watching. I'm going to show you how to change your wiper stalk or indicator stalk on your Peugeot 306. So I'm going to be doing the indicator stalk or the light stalk horn on there as well. However, the same principles apply to both sides. You have to do the same thing basically. So first thing, let's get rid of this cowl, top and bottom, to have access to get this out. There's 3 screws that go underneath, and we'll show you those in a second. You're either going to need a T20 torx for this bit, or if someone's replacing with screws, just a Phillips screwdriver, which is essentially what happened here. So I think one is a screwdriver and one is a T20 torx. I'll show you that now. So there's a cowl with 1, 2 and 3 little holes in there. Tricky one to get underneath there. So you need this narrow torx bit or something to get up there and undo those. So with those 3 screws removed, you'll probably see this separate. Now this part has a little hook, like an L-shaped hook on its back. So you lift the front part up, slide it towards you, and that'll come off. Feels like the one last screw over here hasn't given up the chase yet. So it's just stuck in there. Someone's bodged one in there at some point. There we go. Right, so as you can see, lift at the front up, slide forward, and that's our little L-shaped bracket. There we go, that's the other side. Set that aside. There we go, and then this should just pull down like so. Can get a bit of tight around the lever here. And then please be careful if you've got your stereo controls. Pull it towards you as you pull it down, because of this hook at the back trips onto that metal plate. And there's this that plugs into the back of the stereo. Now the issue with that is, you'll notice there's no plug to unplug it. So you either unscrew it, or you set this aside like that, basically. Okay, the next bit, some people remove the steering wheel for this, but I find it completely pointless. If you just turn the steering wheel enough, you can see the 2 screws. And you can do the same obviously on the wiper side. If I put the key back in the ignition, because it's got the steering wheel on, you can turn it the other way and you'll see the 2 screws there. So there's the 2 screws to remove it. Now some might try and remove the plugs while it's in place. There is some benefits to that because it's not moving anywhere, but the clips are actually on this side of the plugs, not on this side. So on the wiper, that's really easy. I would do that. I would just push down that bit there and push it away, fine. But on this side, it's a bit trickier. You could do it. So I'm going to remove these 2 screws first, and then take the plugs off the back of it. Does that make sense? I'm sure that makes sense. So that's not a T20. We used a T20 early for the screws going up. We would see it doesn't fit. So let's go and get a different one. Okay, so it's the T10 variety. So T20 screws for holding the cowl on, and T10 screws for holding the actual stalk on. Alright, so they're not, shouldn't be very tight. Literally just there to hold it in place. The tiny little screws going into plastic. They shouldn't be tight to come undone, and they should not be tight when you're going back in. And then the stalk union thing box slides out like that. And there it is. So now you can get access to that plug, push in the black tab, and be done with it. Let's see if we can do that while you're watching. Okay, push the black tab in. It's a good idea to push a bit of pressure inwards to get the tab down, and then that comes out. So if that makes sense, you push in, push the black tab down, then pull out. If you're trying to push the tab down while pulling, you're not going to get anywhere. And there we go, there's your one out. Replacement ones, you can get second-hand ones for tailor-fitted, usually from a few people. You can get a non-genuine one, like I have here, for £13 delivered. So I went for the non-genuine brand new unit for £13 delivered, obviously. Let's see if it plugs in, shall we? Yep, that plugs in as it should. Hopefully this is also going to plug in. Plugs in as it should. Right, now is the time to test the lights and everything works. So indicate left, indicate right. It's nice and tight, that's good. And before, the indicators kept coming on and off. You could probably take them apart and fix it all like that, you know, 13 quid. On, lights, main beam, fogs, all working beautifully. Ignition off. Let's slide our bad boy back in there, like so. Get a couple of little tiny T10 screws. And we are almost, but not quite, but almost finished. You really don't need to be wrenching on those little screws. Just a little pinch as they go tight. Now I'm going to do a little request now, because I know a lot of you guys own Peugeots and Citroens. I am looking for a indicator stalk and light stalk that only has rear fog lights on it. Okay, not front and rear, just rear. They came in a few POV spec models, and they need to be phase 2 or 3 and the rallies. So if you know where to get one, or you have one, please let me know. Message me directly, Instagram, Facebook, whatever. Right, the cows are a bit tricky to go back in, but literally just you fit them in the reversal of the removal. Does that make sense? Take your time with them, make sure it's all lined up, because you start screwing these in and they're not lined up, and then you realise it looks rubbish. So take your time putting those cows back in. But there you go. Wiper stalk, indicator stalk, same process, both sides. I hope that's helpful. It's a really simple fix. You can do it yourself. Or the only tricky bits you're going to need is the T10 and T20 torx. You might not have these little torx thingies, you might have them on a little screwdriver or something, but you need quite a thin T20 to get up through the little gaps in the bottom of this thing here. So thanks for watching. That's Piggypower helping you out today on your Peugeot 306. Give it a like, subscribe and all the rest of it, or just don't bother. Just get onto Facebook and give me a shout out and say, hey, Piggy was useful. Let your mates know. That'd be useful. Thanks. Bye.